So thanks to all of you who managed to arrive here at that late time of the day, after a busy day, I guess. I was saying it's a very specific subject, and actually it's a subject which is interesting for any kind of digital art organization that we've been working on together with our partners. I'm going to present the project in a second, on how to be more economically resilient as a digital art organization. So how do we build that? Knowing also that digital art is seen as a cultural good and not really as a product which has to be marketed or something. So there is some sort of tension, and there is always this incompatibility, it seems, between business and the art. So it's a challenge we wanted to take as we started all together with our partners, the Digital Intersection Consortium, which has been funded by the European Commission, to inquire into more ecological but social and economical business models. So this is what we did. I'm going to make a fast-forward presentation. As I was saying, seeing digital art as a key resource also for the digitalization of societies and how we can market this as a digital art organization. So the 5 partners of the consortiums are Chronique, based in Aix and Marseille in France. You know Chronique, guys? Yeah? No? Yes? Yeah? Who doesn't know Chronique, just for me to know, okay. Check them out. They're doing a great job. Kick Festival, and we have a representative of Kick with the head of curation at Kick, so this is quite something to have Marie with us today. We have also Signal. Who doesn't know Kick? No, they don't dare. Yeah, they do. Okay, that's fine. That's great. One of the biggest festivals in Europe, together also with Signal. Signal is more light festival, light installations, I would say. Kick is more new media art festival, but you can say a little bit more things about that later. Another partner is Container in Zagreb. Very edgy, very, I would say, politically, sociologically challenging topics they do. So it's a very nice festival in Zagreb, and we're very proud to have them also as partners. They have a brand new venue, which is also a part of their development. And we have also a benchmark in Canada, meaning we are partnering with Chromatique, and they are actually the festival organized by Massive Art. Do you know Massive Art in Canada, Montreal? A really big organization to digital art, more on a commercial level. So for us, it was a benchmark to see what are we doing, and having a partner who is really with an agency, with a commercial offer of digital art. And it's also us, the Catalysts. So this is Anna from my team, Anna Desponds, and I am AC Coppens. I'm the founder of the Catalysts. And we are the bad business partners. We're the ones talking about business when it goes to art. So where are we at? Very quickly, we are working, and we have been working a lot on prototyping and testing and piloting some new endeavors in terms of business models. We have been learning quite a few things because we've been doing a huge research and survey last year, hundreds of questionnaires sent, and well, I would say like 60, 70, 75 really like solid feedbacks. So, I mean, everything we're going to share with you today is something which has a solid background. We're not inventing stuff. It has something which has been qualitatively really well documented. And so we publish a report. You're going to have the QR code in a second in case you are interested. And we are now in the final phase of the project. It's the 3rd year of this project. And we are now into prototyping the different models. So everyone will have their own business model upgraded, hopefully, right? And they also work together on a common project. And we also, as the business partners, we are doing with them together a sort of a platform to also share the results with any of you, basically, so that you have the opportunity also to make your self-assessment. I will say a couple of words later about that. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what the project is about. And for today, we want actually to show you a little bit more of context about this, and Anna is going to present some key results so that you can follow us right now. After that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the common project we are developing together, this common prototype, the real European project, I can say. Before we go into the specific situation of KIC, how we work together with KIC, what did they learn out of it, what are they working on right now, and I will present you the next thing coming up, the innovative toolkit for you to be involved into this. You didn't know it before you came here, but you're going to be involved into this. And that's it. And we're going to do this in 40 minutes. Let's go. Anna, your turn.
Okay. I think I'm going to...
Yes.
I think I'm going to stand because I would like to both see you and the slide.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to make a bit... Yes. Okay, so, yes, let's see how this thing works as well. Okay, so last year we've conducted this study, which is called The Business of Digital Art, Economic Models and Insights into the Future. And I will keep this QR code for a few slides for you to be able to scan it. So you can also go to the website, digitalintersection.eu, and you will find the research there. So the goal was basically to identify business and financial challenges that digital art organizations are facing and look for new operational models for these institutions. So it's important to stress that we're really trying to figure out what's the situation of institutions and organizations. So this were both artist collectives, but mostly institutions, organizations, disseminations, platforms such as festivals or galleries. We did this research both in Europe, so about 60 respondents were from Europe, but we also did have some benchmarks from other continents, and we have both quantitative and qualitative input. And we also did desk research, which basically means we read a lot. So you can find all these in the report that's under this QR code. And today I will be giving you an overview of the ecosystem background that would lead us to the conversation we'll be having later on with Marie. So I will just give you a couple of insights from the report just to map a few findings that we had. And also we have chosen from this report 5 potentials that could be important to tap on for digital art organizations. So when I say ecosystem, I mean actually money. So the conversation we'd like to have today is about business. And we have surveyed organizations that do come from different places, but that also do have different budgets. So the yearly budgets do span from up to 100,000 euro per year to more than 4 million euros. I think we might be in one of these places who has one of the biggest budgets here today. But the average is, or the midpoint was 400,000 euros. So this is how much a digital art organization would have per year for their operations. And where does this money come from? So more than half of the people that we have surveyed or talked to said that they don't sell nor market anything. We are just out of a panel where people were talking about granting and about the mission that they have with the archives. And basically 1/4 of the organizations were for 1/4 of the organization, public funding constituted 75% or more of their financial resources, and less than 25% of the revenue of these institutions was coming from business to customer services, so ticket sales or any other activities. So most of these organizations do rely on grants. You can see that, well, there was a lot of different things that people said, but a lot somewhat agreed that monetization is always a problem. Many agreed that they are good at finding ways to financially sustain themselves at the same time. But for most of them, this would mean, and this is the big purple light thing on the left, saying we definitely agree, we depend on public money and grants. Well, is it a good thing or a bad thing? That's also a discussion. But for sure, people were also trying to be less reliable on the source of money, and many organizations were actually trying to experiment with different other ways of making money. So these include patron clubs, this include AR festivals, so augmenting what they do, just like the archive panel we just had, so augmenting a physical presence into a digital realm, or new partnerships, or new activities such as consulting and capitalizing on the knowledge that people often have in these organizations. All this to say that whenever we were mentioning, I don't know how to make the GIF work, how do I make the, sorry. Okay, so normally she should be cringing, she's not moving at all, but basically like when we were going around and talking to people working in the art industry saying, hey, AC has this experience, hey, we're here to talk about business models, people would just go cringe. I mean, we are here for the art and not for the money, and it's also something that has been mentioned in the introduction. For many organizations, the very notion of business model is outside of the mission of their institutions, right? And art is seen as something different, as a cultural good, which is neither a product nor a service, and it's not necessarily compatible with business. It's just a public good. This also means that maybe we should rethink the term business model when we're talking about digital art organizations and think of valuation model or sustainability model, which might be a good option to consider. So these were some of the findings regarding business and how do people perceive the idea of business. That is what we're investigating in this project. I encourage you to find out more in the report. But also, here's a few recommendations or things that we wanted to reflect on today. So just 5 of them. But the question arises, knowing how the system works, how can we enhance the potential of these organizations to make the most of what they have? So first of all, we're standing here on this stage talking about money. So starting a conversation about money allows us to actually address the issue. Second thing, sustainability can't wait. And we've heard a lot about, we're talking about economic sustainability today. We hear a lot about ecological sustainability, and a lot of the artworks here address this, but there's also social sustainability. And people have reported having heard, how can you be overworked when you're working in the arts? So there's a certain mission related to working in the arts, but also this means that it's sometimes at the expense, not always, but sometimes it's at the expense of the people who are contributing to this mission. So talking about business and values, I think it's something to consider. And this is where the cringing face should come in when people say these sort of things, right? So the third potential is experience-based economy. If you've ever been, we're a small crowd, so I can say that if you've ever been on a dating platform, you know everybody loves travels these days. So people are into collecting experiences, right? So everyone's moving from one place to another. We had Dirk Ball from Christie who was telling people want to collect things which are non-material. And there's a great potential in this. And it's something that can be addressed also in terms of digital future being, on the one hand, the future of work, of society, of economics, a great social capital. People working with digital art understand what it means, what digital means. But on the other hand, there's this desire for communal experiences, for us being here in the room, for people coming to a festival. And in between, there's this idea of hybridity that we brought from the pandemic. However, knowing all these 3 things, communal experiences, digital potential, hybridity, it doesn't necessarily mean that the organizations are fully embracing the potential that stems from this experience-based economy or hybridity that may come along. A lot of organizations are very much engraved in the physical experiences that they bring to the audience. We are working with digital art, but most of the time these are installations. These are physical experiences. They need a lot of maintenance often, way more than objects that wouldn't be interactive. So there's a huge question of how do we embrace this extra level by doing a platform with archives or by trying to use the potential of the metaverse. So this is also a big question that we need to ask ourselves. One thing we have found out, as this is a project with a lot of stakeholders, there's only 3 of us on the stage, but on the Zoom calls, there's a plethora of faces, that cooperation is really key. And we were asking different organizations while doing this research, what are the things that you would like to invest in? So we were saying, let's talk about metaverses. I was just talking about metaverses. So are you keen on investing in metaverses? The white thingy says no. NFTs, well, not really. I mean, it was 2 years ago, so people also may have different feelings now. DAOs, white thing, no.
No.
Blockchain, no. Art stacks, no. But here, what's happening? New stakeholders constellations. Suddenly we have this purple peak saying, yes, it's something we're keen on investing in. And people are interested in new collaborations. And this idea of cooperation is something which I think is, it's more of my personal opinion, is something which is specific for the digital art ecosystem. We also had this question about what's your position regarding competition, and a lot of people said it's more about cooperation rather than competition, the big orange thing on the cake, right? So I think it's, I think, so just to finish the other thought, I think many of you might be working in interdisciplinary teams, and it's a big potential of people who have been doing this sort of work. It's often a work that requires a lot of, a very various skill set, and there's a lot of people who have to be involved. So I think there's a great potential with cooperation, especially for digital art, which would bring me to the slide saying, on the one hand, you can cooperate within the ecosystem with co-production, shared infrastructures, shared costs, risks, and IPs. But on the other hand, a lot of, we can see this, that a lot of people are also collaborating outside of the ecosystem with tech companies, which may work as art patrons, or with academia as well. So this idea of cooperation and collaboration was our main takeaway from the study, and this led us to this idea of creating a common prototype. So I encourage you to find out more. It was just like a sneak peek to the study. It's a really thick thing, but if you feel inspired, please check out what we have in this publication, and I'm handing over to AC, who will tell you more about this common prototype we decided to develop.
Yes, and I'm going to take the clicker. No, I have a microphone. I want the clicker. Thank you. So that's right. I would love to know, who of you has a digital art organization? He's leading a digital organization? Okay, that's why you're in the first row, the very front. Who is an artist then? Producer? Producer, okay. What about the one sleeping? Is it an artist too? No, not you, the person behind you. Okay. Okay, that's great. So actually the little girl cringing is really a situation I had as I was doing the research in Montreal, and I was going to digital arts galleries, and I was saying like, hello, I'm making a survey interview about money and business, and the woman looks at me and like, we don't do, and really like, what? No, well, you make me feel bad. And she said something else actually, but anyway, this really like marked the beginning of our research. Anyway, the most important thing here is what Anna was saying before, these new stakeholders constellations, and we really wanted to go into this. We had these 5 organizations working together, and we were like, okay, now we are bound with this European project. We need to do something. And the original plan was really like, everybody is going to upgrade their business model. And then we were really like talking about the results and exchanging about these 75 entries with great materials about people talking. I was like, why don't we actually do a prototype where we put our strengths together, and maybe we do the best of the weaknesses we have by compensating, and really like inquire into something new. And we were thinking, okay, we can share and we can collaborate on the one hand. Another big result of the study was you need to digitize. It's incredible to have digital art organizations which are not necessarily really great in terms of skill, of digitization and everything. And we decided, okay, maybe we can push it, maybe we can have a digital platform or something together. And another thing was also like to build communities. Everybody had their own communities. We're talking about major festivals in Europe. What can we do for maybe a bigger community, something more European, which of course would give even more justification to the project, which is funded by Creative Europe. So we decided to inquire into this and have what we call the common prototype. And the common prototype was actually meant as, why don't we do a common catalogue? We decide on digital art pieces which are with a very specific profile, a unique curation profile, which are relating to Europe. Because the artists are based in Europe, the topics are European topics, and then we noticed it was a very difficult territory, like what is European, what is not European, if we want to be inclusive, what are we doing? So it was also big conversations about that. But we decided to say, okay, artists from wherever they come, but who are maybe like based in Europe. And then we were also thinking of very specific target groups. Not necessarily mainstream audiences, but really like B2B. For example, proposing a curated catalog with this profile for companies, corporates, or for public institutions, and even maybe specific public institutions, or specific use cases for public art in public spaces, or outside or inside. So we could really we wanted to target this. So this is what we worked on nearly for a full year, I would say. And then at some point, we thought, okay, it's a huge investment, and then the return on investment would have been even later. On the other hand, we had worked so much and we had so much know-how, we decided to go to a less commercial approach, not common catalog, sell, find the target groups, but to go more into okay, we learned so much between us with this business model and how to upgrade our different business models. Why don't we share it with the community? So we wanted to be still aligned with a vision of, okay, we work for something, not only for ourselves. So everybody has been working further with their individual business models, the 5 institutions, actually the 4, because Canada is only the benchmark for us. And we decided to go on and to share these case studies, to share the resources we had, to elaborate on the toolkit I was mentioning before, to offer peer-to-peer consulting for people having similar situations, and also to train the people and, do a curriculum of what we have been doing together for the last 2 years. So this is the platform. So it is still a common prototype, but it has a less commercial approach, a more, let's say, business social approach, so to speak, to be able to share what we learned. And now I would like to leave the common prototype. I'm going to give you some more details about it at the very end of this. But first of all, I would like to engage in a little discussion with you, Marie, being the KIC, representing the KIC here. You have been the one working with us most of the time. And we have been exploring this common model, but you have been also on the individual model. So basically, I would like to... I have a slide also for this, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, we have to, sorry, we have to change the presentation. I am getting confused. Yes, we have an extra presentation on this.
Yes, and so what I will do so that you understand what the case study I'm going to present. So I'm going to shortly present our organization and the ecosystem we created, and I'm going to be standing so that I can see the slides. And then we'll discuss about this case study. So I'm part of a non-profit organization. I'm the artistic director and curator of KIC. We are located in Belgium, in Namur. So it's a small city 1 hour away from Brussels, in the French-speaking part of Belgium, as you can tell by my accent. And we explore crossovers between art, science, technology, society. And I would add another stream, which is business. And we do that through multiple events and multiple activities throughout the year. I'm not going to present all the activities here because this is not the point of the talk here, but we exist since 2011. And we have 4 main projects. The first one, which is the most visible one, is Kick Festival. So it's a yearly festival taking place in October, 4 days in October in the city of Namur. With a program of a conference program, an art exhibition in 20 different locations throughout the city. Also some networking activities, some parties in the evening. Then we are also co-running TRAC, the Creative Hub, Fab Lab and Media Lab of Namur, with 2 other partners, the Office for Economic Development of the City of Namur and the University of Namur. It's a 3,000 square meter building dedicated to economic development. So there are 16 offices for companies. There is a co-working and a Fab Lab and a Media Lab. And so it's dedicated to foster economic development in digital technologies in the field of cultural and creative industries. And we are in charge in this project of everything related to creative technologies. We manage the Fab Lab. We manage also the Media Lab, which is dedicated to immersive technology. We have an artistic production platform with a program of yearly residencies. And we are also managing Le Pavillon, which is our own exhibition venue, a 2,500 square meter exhibition venue, which used to be the Belgian pavilion of the Milan World Exhibition in 2015. And since 2020, it's been an art, science, technology and society venue in Namur. So I'm just going to quickly go through slides so you have just images of the festival and what we do. Something important to say in Kick Festival is that it's not only a new media art festival, so in the conference program, but also in the Kick Market that you are seeing here, we invite a lot of businesses. For example, Kick Market is an exhibition of technological innovation projects from throughout the world. On different topics, and in the conference program we invite a lot of creative people who are working in digital communication, web design, motion design studio, XR studios, so we mix the artistic field with the business field, and most of the audience, the professional audience that is coming to the festival is our professionals working within the field of digital communication. So it's not only an artistic festival, so yeah, there is this large exhibition, and so we attract so those are old figures, but we attract about 3,000 professionals and 25,000 visitors in the festival. So just a few images of TRAC. I'm not going to explain a lot about that. We have residencies, open call. And this is Le Pavillon, which is this venue that is located on top of the citadel of Namur, which is the most visited touristic spot of the city. And we are located at the arrival of the cable car. This is what the building looks like. It's not clicking anymore. But anyway, this is what the building looks like, and we have a program of exhibition throughout the year. It's not clicking anymore, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to stop there for the presentation, and I'm coming back for the discussion.
Yes, this is great. No, it's great. I was there, I was very impressed, and of course, when you are a business person and you go to such a place, of course you ask yourself a question like, whoa, it's huge. How are they going to do this, right? So what are the challenges that you have with the pavilion, and why did you choose also this aspect of because you understood that Kick is really quite huge, right? But then you decided to really concentrate your efforts in terms of individual business model prototype upgrade to be on the pavilion. So challenges and why there?
Yes, so just a note about that relates to what Anna was saying before. So we have 80% of public funding and 20% of private funding. And we are trying to go down to 50-50. That's one of the objectives for the next few years. And we decided to focus on Le Pavillon because it's a venue. So what happened was the city of Namur, we had been asking to the city, we would like to find a venue to have a museum, an art center, to have a program throughout the year, rather than having only a festival. And thanks to the city, we had this venue. But as often with politics in Belgium, they give you a venue, they give you a little bit of money, and then they expect you to do amazing things. But we only had enough money to pay for the human resources and the people working in the building. So nothing for the exhibition, nothing for discursive program or workshops. And so that's the main problem of this venue. Every year we need to apply for funding and different sources of funding to get revenues, to get money for the artistic program. Otherwise we have an empty space. And
how did you decide to tackle this problem, to work on this?
Yeah, so we looked at different cultural art organizations and we decided, okay, we're going to do a business club to try to attract businesses. Like a lot of other cultural organizations, you have a membership, a club, and you pay depending on the companies that are a member of your club and depending on how much money they are paying. They can get access to Le Pavillon. They can sometimes even rent the space. Sometimes they get access to specific activities, and they can network between each other because it's a certain range of companies that we are attracting.
I just want to ask you, because we have in the consortium, we have a partner, Chronique, you remember, and they have a digital art club, this DAC, they call it. Is it something that has inspired you, actually? Did you talk with Fabien about that? Was it something like cross-knowledge polarization, or?
Yes, so it inspired us, but when we looked at the model and when we looked at what we wanted to do, we started discussing with potential companies who could be members of this club, and they were like, yeah, but actually we're also interested in Kick Festival, and we are trying to we like the fact to be associated with your image and what you do, new media, art, science, technology, and society. But
we want to be modern, we want to be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But on the other hand, your audience is an audience of creatives, or it's a wide audience of families with kids. We don't care about those audiences. What we want to reach, we would like to talk to big CEOs of large tech companies, and we would like to network with all those people. So yeah.
Yes. How do you do that then?
Yes. So finally, we dropped this model of having a club only for the pavilion, and we will have a much more adaptable and flexible model. So the idea now is really to create some specific packages for those companies. For example, we would organize during each edition of Kick Festival specific talks and conference programs that are only upon invitation, but that take place in the festival, where we will invite creative people, artists, but also CEOs of big tech companies. And it will take place in smaller rooms, like only with 100 people in the room. And each company will be able to invite their prospects to this event. So it will be a lot of CEOs and top managers of specific companies that are coming to be inspired to get a glimpse of this creative field or of what is happening in the art and science world or in new technologies. And they would pay to get access to that network, but also to be part of the festival. And then they can also pay to have organize their private events within our own exhibitions or within Le Pavillon. So it's still a work in progress right now. And we are trying to adapt and have a lot of different offers. But what we see, the thing that attracts most of those companies right now is this network of CEOs. We really see that it's there that they see there is an opportunity. And thanks to our network, this Belgian network of companies could get access to an international network, because it's one of the problem in Belgium. And also, since the beginning of the year, since January 2024, we've been appointed by the Walloon government as the main key stakeholder in digital technologies in the field of cultural and creative industry. So now our new role is to federate this sector, so to talk to web designers, motion designers, creative studios, people working in immersive technologies.
Creative technologists,
yes,
so to speak.
Music
right?
tech, also all the field of music tech. And to try to connect, first to make people talk to each other and create networking activities within this field, but also connect this network to international organizations and to a much broader worldwide network. And so we also see this as an opportunity because we will have public funding to organize activities for this within this field. But we could capitalize on that and maybe reach towards more international organizations. So it's still we're still brainstorming at the moment, but that's kind of the main idea.
So we are doing this in a kind of a coaching process. So we meet every month all together as partners, and we discuss the common prototype, for example, or we discuss also the individual projects so that they can exchange. And this is this is the kind of thing that you will be also able to have access to. We are building this platform now where you can really inquire into the different business models, because everybody is actually conceiving a way to share the knowledge, like the do's and don'ts. Why don't the corporates want to go there? Because they don't get access to this, but they need something else, so we decided to conceive something else. What are our key learnings? And this will be shared also on that platform. The other individual prototypes are also super interesting. Signal is working on a new conference. They have a new conference with a new ticketing. So it is also increasing their economical resilience because they are having this new offer with a new way to ticket that and to price that. So the process we had was all about the pricing. At Container, after they opened a new venue, which has nothing to do with that project as such, but they really wanted to have a venue. But it's all about how to offer new services in a new venue, and not to only have an annual event, but to have something which is for all year long. So this is also economical resilience, even if it is bound to more costs, more things, more problems, but still, how can you balance that out? And at Chronique in Aix, what is it again? I'm sorry, because they are quite advanced with their digital arts club, but they decided to work on, help me please. A market part, exactly. So it's interesting also that there is also cross-pollination here, because KIC has this market that that you were showing us now, that Marie was showing us, and it is all about also sharing this, and can you have a business part in your festival? Can you go B2B? How can you involve them? And can you also make money for yourself, because you don't do it just for free, just because you are working in the digital arts and it's so cool, right? So we have been processing all of this, and I was telling you also behind this, okay, so we're going to share all of these resources, and I was also mentioning a self-assessment tool. So for this, I think I don't have the clicker anymore. Yeah. Oh, I have to click on the whole presentation? Okay, well. So in case you didn't remember what we saw, and for the ones who came later, I saw you can see what we've been discussing before. You missed quite a lot, I would say, right? Okay, oops. I have to go back. So, the toolkit. So, right now, I must say, and I am the one on it, I haven't even worked with my team on it yet, because I am experimenting myself with an AI, how to process the huge amount of information we have. We have been working with everybody with a SWOT, very classical tool from the 50s, nothing innovative, but really good to see, okay, what's happening? And to see, do we have common strengths? throughout, I mean, I'm saying it's not only Europe, actually. We did the questionnaire all around the world. So we have people from 23 countries, 4 continents. So I mean, it's really like something where we can see, like, is there a common denominator, so to speak? So we worked on the strengths and the you know, SWOT, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we have been elaborating in our workshops, like, common strategies if we confront the strengths with the opportunity, if we confront them with the threats, and etc. So we've been really, like, pushing everything together. And you can see, I mean, it's here only a very short summary because we have a lot of strength and a lot of weaknesses and a lot of very specific stuff. So when we have a look at the opportunity of hybridization, new audiences, collaborative ecosystems, and etc. But also in terms of weaknesses, yes, we have problems with how to manage and how to strategize and how to deal with the thing and how to be sustainable, and etc. And of course, the threats, which are here very global, with the war and the energy problems and the ecological challenges. Wow, okay, how do we do this? So we've been working on this. We have been developing strategies from all of this confrontation. And right now we have something, I mean, I don't know, I think we have like 30 pages of content, which I have been structuring it myself because I didn't trust the AI. So I really put this together. I elaborated the summary thanks to Anna, who did all the contents together, and we have a lot of content after all of this. And now we are linking really granularly your potential strengths, your potential weaknesses, so that the tool we envision is something you arrive on and say, like, what are your strengths? Click here, bang, bang, bang. Okay, great. Now, tell us about your opportunities. Oh, that's this, okay. Tell us about the threats you have, etc., etc. And then you do like, what's the strategy? Click, bang. The thing is giving you the strategy. That's what we're working on right now. So that's it's a little gimmick thingy, but I really wanted to have it since the very beginning. I don't know if you remember the first meeting we had together in Prague. I remember we did that SWOT, and I'm like, at the end of the project, when we know everything of everyone, I want to, and back then we didn't have ChatGPT. It was just before, I think it was October 22. It was like 2 weeks before ChatGPT. And I was really envisioning this, and so we are working on this. So you can, stay tuned. We will be publishing this in February 25. It will be on the DIS platform. So DIS is digitalintersection.eu. And that's what we wanted to share with you, right? So now if you have any questions, we are there. If someone from the audience can make a picture of us, I would be super happy, because we want to show the European Commission that we were there. We are not going to tell them how many people are there. Is there anyone from the European Commission here? Probably now, yes. I'm not. Somebody. So if you can send us the picture after that, that would be super nice. And then I will answer your questions, or anyone. Please, you have a question? To whom would you like to ask a question? Thank you.
I have a comment and a question.
Gladly.
First of it, like, to give you a bit of context, I have been working in public art institution in Spain for 10 years. Quite decent size, I would say. And one of the most, you commented in the very beginning, is the tension between the word's business model, that is more sustainability model, and a concept of more poorest artist scene, I would say. Yeah, but if you want to do residencies with no cost, you need to get money from somewhere else.
Yes.
And this was a tension that was never addressed. Different reasons, and then going to comment here. But I think for certain type of institution is still, and it will be always in top of the table. And this comes with my question, in the sense of when you are designing or proposing a business model, how, because I'm also a bit on the purist side, but I'm also practical, in the sense how you can make a sustainability model. Let's do this way if we are talking about public funded institutions, the mix is a bit different. How you can make this without fiscalizing or making the work of the artist not dependent of the money. So for me, and this is where I come from, or how I was art educated, I would say, you want, as an institution, you want to have the artist pure independence and pure, so the artwork, so the discourse is not conditioned from the money is coming. So for me, it's how these models can be explored to have institutions that they provide independency to the artists, but also in the long run, they are able to sustain themselves. What are the models, what are the tactics that the institution are thinking about? I'm going to put 2 examples. For example, talking to one of the CEOs of these big companies, you're going to put 100K for this, and then everyone has to work about this. Then it's not so independent. Or renting venues of the space, so the money comes indirectly and then finances the artist. For example, these are 2 typical examples of the 2 models, I would say. I would like to come back to this, okay, now we have the money, or how we get the money, how this affects the production, the art production of the
production work and the artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to say, first of all, that the main focus, and we have this question on every dissemination event we've been doing, the main focus of this project is not the economic resilience of the artists. This is an indirect benefit. Of course, everything is bound together. I mean, you cannot say, oh, we work about this institution, and of course, everything is bound together. But we talk about the independency of the arts institutions and not the artists. So that's the number 1. Then I would say you are the best place to talk about that because you do production work, you work with the artists together. So what's your answer, I think, is the most important one.
Yes. One thing we didn't mention in the study, but which is the most common reply I think you had from the study was because of the lack of money and the lack of funding of all those digital art organizations, everybody, we are all, we have too much work and not enough people to do the work. And because we are all passionate people, we just do the work and we do more with less money. And so we have a problem of human resources. For example, at Le Pavillon, the venue you see, it's like 2,500 square meters. We have 1 person for the technical director. We have Le Pavillon director, 1 person who is doing welcoming of the people. And then that's it. The curator, I'm the curator of Le Pavillon, but I'm also the curator of Kick Festival, and I'm also running the artistic production platform. So I'm doing so many things at the same time, and our communication manager is doing communication of Kick Festival, communication of Le Pavillon, and communication of our organization. So you cannot imagine the number of burnouts we already had within our organization, because at some point people are just like, it's too much, you know. And I love the organization, I love working with all those people, but I just can't do it anymore, you know. I need to get out of this because it's too much work. And so this impacts what we can provide to artists as well, because in our artistic production platform, we do a lot of mentoring. So we follow the artists, we give advice, but this needs people. And so without the money, we cannot do it. And so we are quickly, welcoming the artists for a residency. We do a little bit of coaching as much as we can, you know. We help them also in the Fab Lab with the machines and so on. But we could do so much more, and it could be so much more beneficial to artists, but it's just we don't have enough people because of the lack of money, so we just do what we can.
Yeah, so it's a good example, and it's a good question to see that it is not directly the artist benefiting from this, but indirectly it is an automatism, so to speak.
I think we have to finish.
We have a very little time. So
I think the question also had a different angle, if I got it right. It was also the question about finding the balance between selling yourself or your vision and finding another way to sustain your vision, which wouldn't impact your creative independence. Yeah.
Okay, well, She's a checker.
Do we have any other? So we can address this in a second.
We have another question.
But we also have another question coming up. So just for efficiency.
Anna, I'm sorry, I am the CTO here, and I'm an important Chief Time Officer, and we have only 3 minutes left. So
okay, so we have 2
let's make it to the
questions
point.
and 3 minutes.
Thank you.
That's my point. Yes.
Marie, please be brief to answer that.
Yes. So one thing we said within our organization from the very beginning is we make no compromise on content, meaning that it's okay if we do a private event for companies. Yes, they can be, because it's a private event. So if they want to have the CEO of Google or whatever, we will do it. But we will never put the CEO of Google within the main conference program of Kick Festival, and we will never allow a company, whatever, Adobe saying we want to have, for example, Adobe, they do that at other conference who are like us, and they put what they call their evangelist on stage, and they give you money, but
they have to speak.
Yes, they have to speak, and we will never do that. And so it's a decision we took from the very beginning. No compromise on content. We are the managers of content. So either you work with us, and we are very clear with companies since the very beginning. So it's the first thing we tell us.
Thank you. Okay, last question then.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all your knowledge and experiences. My question goes a bit about, especially your experiences, how to shift from public funding to private. And which brings me to the question about independency. And also what I hear, what's really interesting to me is that model of this kind of business club, like providing some services for corporations or companies to meet and bring them together. I think that makes completely sense. But you're rather dependent then on more time investment to organize these kind of events, which is not directly supporting the arts. Indirectly, of course, I can get it that you could fundraise your private support through that. But the second problem or challenge with the private sector is, of course, the interests of these companies and sometimes a confrontation with criticality, which might happen. We have some discussions in Germany about these kind of things, big media art exhibitions funded by Palantir and so on. So
what's your question that she can answer in 30 seconds?
Okay, how can we first of all, is there any alternative to these kind of public or private funding, which is still dependency? And third, how could we still secure our independency if we involve more of the private sector?
30 seconds.
Okay, it's complicated in 30 seconds, but as we are a festival which has an activist position, we are choosing the companies we want to work with. So there is, like for each company, there is a strategic committee, and we discuss. Is it ethically okay? Can we? So, for example, we decided some guidelines. We will never work with companies like from the petrol companies, for example, or companies damaging the environment. But then there is, where do you put the cursor? It's complicated, because a bank, depending on their investment, they could be damaging the environment. So, but it's always a discussion. And secondly,
very briefly.
What was the other part of your question?
I think we can maybe take the discussion a little bit further after this session, but everything was around this independency. So I think you have been already answering that part, or partly. We could actually go on for another hour. I'm just in charge to make sure we finish at 5, and it is 5:01. Okay. So if it's okay for you, shall we continue the conversation for all of you who are interested? Thank you so much to have come to us and see this. I hope you had the opportunity to make a picture of the QR code and register so that we can continue. And we will see you next time. We are at Chronic in January, and I think we will be in Kick. We will be at Kick. Yeah, but anyway, we will be at Kick at the end of October in case you are there to discover the Kick. That we will have a workshop even with digital arts organizations to share more of our resources and see what do you need in terms of strategies so that we can shape this tool at the end. So I hope to see you there. Thank you very much. Goodbye.